What's going on, everybody? Paul Wolf here. We're getting ready to do some work to the 4400 car. Obviously got it all depaneled. Got back from LS Fest, did some burnouts in the car. Had a good time out there. We're gonna get it ready for Legends of the Fall. It's, our finals are coming up. Huge race, big race for me especially. I'm leading in the East and West Coast points right now. Got guys nipping on my heels. I got Lauren in the West Coast. Me and him are having an epic battle this year, finishing 1 and 2 at every race we go to race against each other. So huge battle. I'm leading him right now, just barely. So it comes down to nationals. Same thing in the East Coast. I know there's some guys right on my heels. I don't know exactly who it is after the whole Crandon deal. A lot of points got mixed up there. So we're waiting to see how they shake out. I'm gonna go ahead and start prepping the car, getting it ready to go. I actually got a pretty good brake here, so I'm gonna go through the entire car. Today we're gonna work on ripping the front of the car apart. We're gonna get the diff out of the front end, pull it all down. I gotta pull the diff out of the back of the car, get it pulled down. I need to go through everything in the motor. Being that we just put the motor in the car, I wanna check all the fittings, all the hoses going to the motor. I wanna check all the tranny bolts, all the converter bolts. I wanna go through all the bolts on everything that we just put in because it's all fresh. We're gonna rebuild the front axles this week. So we got a huge week. Basically, car's coming all the way down. The only thing that's staying in it is motor and tranny. Everything else is coming out of the car. So let's get started. I'm gonna do some time lapses and we'll put it up on the next episode, excuse me. So here we go. How I get the diff out, normally by myself, but I made Christy come out here to hold the camera so that way we can actually get it. Check this out, we'll see how it goes. Some days it's easier than others. So normally I start by pretending like I'm driving the car, you know, make race car noises and stuff. No, just joking. The differential's got to come through the floorboard up here to where I'm sitting, and yeah, I'll grab it and show you real quick. Differential's down there, all the way at the front. So here we go. I'm gonna jump down here. You can probably be able to film from the front a little bit until I get it up here close to me. You're gonna have to come back this way. Okay. Again, this is not the easiest thing to do by yourself. All right, going up here. And there it is. Now I gotta climb out and put it in the box. Stay. That's easier coming out than going back in. Back in takes a lot more effort, but we got it out. Time to crate it up. I don't know what I did. It's not wanting to go where it needs to. There it is. There we go. Now we can ship it back, get it inspected. This one here, we got a couple races on, so we're gonna get it checked out and then hopefully get it back. Hopefully nothing's wrong and doesn't cost me a lot of money. Until next time.
Hi, Z. Get in the video. Say hi.
We're out here in the shop, getting ready to get back to work on the UFO car. Pretty sure you guys can see this. We got the front diff out of the car right now. We did an inspection on it, checked all the gears, checked all the bearings, made sure bearings were good. Everything looks good in the car. Checked all the ring gear bolts, made sure they're good. We're getting ready to put it back in. We got to drop it through the inside of the car all the way to the front. So a lot of fun. I do it by myself. It gets pretty interesting. And of course, we got the podcast running in the background. Listening to a little Dale Earnhardt Jr. today. Doing different podcasts with people, learning racing secrets, and trying to get faster all the time. So check it out. We'll see you guys do another video here in a minute. Hopefully I have it in the car when I do the next one.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.
So we got the front differential is back in the car. Getting ready to put the drive shaft in. Just, I don't know if you see here, dropping stuff. Wire wheel all the bolts, got all the nuts cleaned up, got all the old Loctite out of them. I know they're lock nuts, but I Loctite the drive shaft. It's in between my feet, and the last thing I want is something coming loose, breaking my ankles or my legs or something crazy like that. So I put a little extra Loctite and a little extra patience on these bolts. Make sure that I get them in there correctly and get it all secured. Getting ready to start on that, get it all locked down, and then we'll have the front diff in, drive shaft in, and then we're on to rebuilding the front axle shafts, which everybody knows that's done it. RCV grease. I'll have it all over me by the end of it. I'll have it up my elbows and everything else, and I'll probably have to take a shower as soon as I get done rebuilding them. It seems like I always make a mess out of it. But we'll get them rebuilt. You know, they work the best. They hold up to the power. So that'll be our next video, is rebuilding them. I'm going to get this drive shaft knocked out real quick, and we'll keep moving. We're getting ready to do some RCV axle shafts. Like always, going to repack these with grease. We got pretty lucky. I ran them, cycled them all around, rolled them around, made sure all the balls felt good. Ball and claw in there felt all good. No big hang-ups or hiccups in them. They all felt pretty solid. So I get away with a little easy. I'm just gonna take a tube of grease from RCV, pack them, repack them full of grease, make sure they're good, and put them back in the car. Again, these don't, I think they have one full race on them from Crandon, and they're pretty good. We did do LS Fest with them, but that wasn't extremely hard on them. So we only got one race on this set since I've had them all the way pulled apart. So I get lucky this week. I only get to repack them full of grease, get them ready to go again. And, whoops, sorry, we're gonna get started on that right now.
Down to the river, down to the river. Oh, bury me, carry me, oh, far beneath, oh, fire and water me, going down deep, say, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, far beneath, oh, fire and water me, washing me clean, kerosene creek.
We're still in here working on the 4400 car. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in and show you some parts as I do a quick walk around of it. We got the front end back together. We got our differential back inside there. It's all done. Brakes are back on. Pads look good. Everything there looks like we're doing good. Coming up, axle shafts have been repacked, reinstalled. Got the little bolts in the back of them that are a complete pain in the ass. But they do serve a purpose, so they're good. They're all ready to roll. We ended up putting a new tie rod on this side over here of the car. The old one was good, but I noticed it seemed to have a little bow to it at a certain angle, and this one here is just a little bit bigger. A little stouter tie rod, so I put a new tie rod in. There's my phone going off in the background, sorry about that. And then we got the rest of the car back together as far as the front end goes. We're waiting for the fuel pump. We ended up doing new fuel pumps in the car. The bigger motor required more fuel. The old fuel system wouldn't handle it. So in the burnouts at Hollyfest, a couple guys have already pointed out, you heard the car cutting out a little bit. I did a couple cyclones, realized that the car lost fuel pressure in the middle of the cyclone. So I let out of the throttle to make sure I didn't burn the motor down or anything. Watched the fuel gauge, it come back, so I started drifting some more. And then at that point in time, it was kind of just, I wanted to put a show on and I didn't want to hurt the motor, so I just did a balancing act of watching the fuel pressure. If it would dip down, I'd pull out of a drift just to make sure I didn't burn the motor up. But anyways, we made it through. It was only 60 seconds, so it wasn't real long to run the car like that. We got new fuel pumps coming for the car, so I gotta wait. I'm gonna leave all that open up in the front, so when I get the new fuel pumps, I can fit them in there, get them mounted to a plate they go to, get them back in the car. I'll do some videos on that in a little bit. Moving on here to the back, we reset all of our cameras up, and we're gonna tear out the rear diff right now. I'm gonna get it pulled out. We're waiting on a new one. It should maybe be here today if we get lucky. It should come in today. We just went ahead and moved everything, got it ready, got the car up on jack stands. Got my GoPro, my fancy GoPro tripod here, quad pod. It's got 4 tires. Set up, so we're ready to go. And we're gonna go ahead and keep going with the shop series, and let us know how you like this. If you know you like all the walkthroughs and stuff, I'm sure Dylan will cut this up a little bit and hopefully make it a little more compact and cleaner. So we'll see how good his editing skills are. You ready? Give me 5. Ooh, all right, let's tell everybody about what we did tonight. Hey, what's up, everybody? We're out here Saturday night. Laney's out here helping me. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Yeah, and we're actually changing a unit bearing out. We actually got pretty lucky. This is coming back off of the race at Crandon, and then we ran a little bit out at LS Fest. I knew this wheel bearing was getting a little rough back here. We just run these Ford wheel bearings. They hold up pretty decent, and this one's obviously pretty wore out. And then I've never seen this before, but we snapped this ring off the back side of it, and so I say we got pretty lucky we didn't lose the wheel / wheel bearing during the race. So we're gonna get this little insert swapped out into this one here. This one's got some life left in it, and after the finals race, we'll probably put new ones all the way around the car, going to hammers. And my help's over here. I don't know what she's talking. I think she talks different language every once in a while.
I was talking to your only pressure.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you ready? We gonna win?
Yeah.
Are we gonna beat Lauren?
I'm beating you.
You're beating me?
Yeah, I would say.
Are we gonna win in this car? Are we gonna beat the Ford guys?
1, 2, 1. I would say 3 hours.
I don't know what she said, but sure. It sounded good. I think we're gonna win. You wanna help me change the O-rings out?
Yeah.
Alright, can you find a pick? Did I bring a pick over here?
Yeah.
We're gonna cheat and use a screwdriver. How about that?
Yeah.
There. Alright, let's get that O-ring off there. We gotta reuse it. We, for some reason, didn't get a new one with the new seal. There we go, right there. Can you get a hold of that thing?
Okay, yeah.
Alright, peel it off there. Take her off. Pull it all the way off. Good job.
I did.
Oh, you didn't want to get oily?
Yeah, I did.
You don't like the oil?
I did.
We're going to have to put a little great stuff back on this one. At one point in time, apparently we had this wheel bearing come loose our first race at Moab.
Hello?
And
Hello?
it actually chewed the inside of this up a little bit. So
Hello?
we run just a tad bit of
Dad.
silicone on these just to make sure they seal up good. Not that we really have to, just kind of a little precautionary that I do like to do. And let's put that O-ring back on there. There we go, that's ready. So we're gonna clean this little housing up, get some of this other stuff off of here, and we'll be putting it together in just a second. Only let Dad do damage to himself. Warn you guys, try to not paint stuff and it rusts around here. I have to paint everything in the Midwest or it looks like this soon afterwards.
Good job, Daddy.
Thank you, honey. You ready to put this back together?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah? You know where the silicone's at?
Yeah, it had 1 and 2. And 3, it was all missing. How is it do it? All 4. There are 4, Daddy. There are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7, 8, 9,
9, 10.
11.
Wait, Dad.
Can you count to 20?
No, they're all missing.
What is?
We're missing. Oh,
Oh, we're missing the parts?
yeah, we're missing a circle.
We're missing a circle.
Yeah,
Is it right here, maybe?
it is.
Yeah, we'll put it back on there. Let's get some silicone and then we'll be putting this on in just a second.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What's that called from?
There was a giant tube with the caulk gun. I probably left it right there where I needed to be. Look at that, when you put stuff where you think it should be.
You did.
Losing the marbles.
Daddy, lost it? Whoa,
Yep,
what's
I
that?
lost. My marbles rolled right down the road.
Oh,
Can you believe that?
You did?
Can you believe my marbles rolled away?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Can I put this on you?
No.
No?
You can't go get me.
I can't get you?
No, I'm with Festival. Oh,
What do you mean I can't get you?
I'm at Festival time. What are you doing?
Well, this got chewed up in the race at Moab when that came loose, so
It's okay. I was doing
just
again,
go a
Daddy.
little extra.
Yeah.
Just a little thin layer just to make sure it doesn't leak at all.
Yeah, but we'll have to fix it. And then we get a park.
Yeah, we have to fix it the next time.
And then we get a
We
park.
can probably run it up to our buddies and they can probably machine it for us maybe
Oh, yeah.
at the end of the year when we take the car apart. What do you think?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Yeah?
Hey, Dad, I'll help you.
You're gonna help me?
Yeah.
Can you pick that big bearing up and put it in?
That hammer? Where's that? I can find it.
You can't find the hammer?
That I find the hammer.
Can you move the hammer?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, you ready? We're gonna put this big wheel bearing in.
Yeah. Say, man, I'm gonna keep up to Dad. How am I doing now, Mom? Help. Help.
Bless you.
Yes, Mom. Dad, how am I doing? Dad, I'm tiny.
You're Tiny?
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you, Tiny. I'm Paul.
I'm leaving you.
You're Laney?
Yeah.
I thought you were Tiny.
But I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
You're Laney?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you doing, Laney?
He has the house.
You helping me?
Yeah.
You are a lot of help.
Yeah.
You're
Whoa.
my best helper.
Hey, the string's going off, but the string's going off. The string, the hammer.
Ooh, man. This might take a little more effort than I want.
Yeah, the string. Oh, he wants tight.
there. Let's get a big socket. Knock that off any melon. Oh yeah, look at that, it's perfect. Now we gotta just grab a hammer. Dad didn't get a hammer.
Hi, Z. What happened? Paul, what'd your dog do?
So we had a halt production of the race car shop. Apparently, our ginormous, Laney, back up.
Okay.
Our goofy dog here went and got a second kill of his life. He got a deer. Well, actually, the deer was already dead. He just found it and decided to roll in it. And so he smells horrendous right now because he decided to go roll in a dead deer, and he's quite proud of himself. Kind of a dickhead, really. So now we're gonna garden hose him off. Stay. Dude, you smell rotten. Stay over there. If this smells in front of my shop for the next week, I'm gonna be so pissed. Heisenberg, get over here. Sit. Sit. Stop. What's up? So we're finishing tightening up our bolts on our new wheel bearing. Obviously I'm a little wet. We had to give a dog a bath. He decided to go play in a dead deer. So he smelled real good. Laney helped us give him a bath. And I think we're gonna finish tightening this last one up, and we're gonna go get us some Dairy Queen, I think.
Hey, Mom.
So,
Mom.
y'all have fun. What's going on, everybody? We're back here at the shop today. Looks like I got a good hairdo going. I'm just gonna delete this. What's going on, everybody? We're back here at the shop, getting ready to work on the coil packs on the car. This is something that some of the veterans of the sport informed us that we needed to do. I need to get the coil packs, I'm gonna show you real quick, raised up off this plate. So this is the plate that we mount the coil packs to, and obviously you see we got them mounted down flush against that plate. And what will happen is it'll transfer heat into the coil pack, cause some problems, especially on long races. So we're just gonna build some spacers, space them up off the coil pack. I already measured, I need about a 3/4 of an inch spacer. Well, all I'm gonna do is just chuck, I bought this little piece of tubing from the hardware store. I'm gonna just chuck it up in the lathe and cut off a bunch of them at 3/4 of an inch. That way I know they're nice and square and not on edge. And then we're just gonna rebolt them back down. So it should be pretty easy little project, but hopefully it'll save us a lot of headaches in the long run and prevent a lot of issues in the long run when we get into some of these longer races. So we're gonna get started on that today and get going. I'll go ahead and get going now. Back here, we got all of our little spacers milled out. I hope you can see that, little aluminum spacers. We're gonna mount them right in here just to hold the coil packs up off these little brackets. Get some air under the coil packs so they start cooling off a little better. Try to prevent some problems. I'm gonna send that over to Ted and Robert, let them guys tack them together. I don't have any way of aluminum welding here right now currently, so I'm gonna send that over to them, get it done, and then hopefully get my coil packs back on, get that buttoned up on the car. We got a few other little details we're working on the car. I think we're gonna put a little bigger dry sump tank in the car to help with the oil pressure dipping issues we had at Crandon. We think it might have been sloshing the oil around and getting some air, sucking some air into the pump. So we're gonna do some stuff with that. Other than that, I'm waiting on a few other parts for the car. I think the differential just showed up. I gotta run out and check and see if it's here. If it is, I'm gonna start getting the rear diff put back in the car, get it all buttoned up and ready to go. So that's one more thing I can check off my list. Other than that, we're pretty good on the big car. We're sitting in good shape. We're gonna start in on the Can-Am. We're gonna get the KOH car here. We're gonna actually tear it down and start working on it. So stay tuned. Yo, what's going on, everybody? So we got our diff in. It's in the box right there. Getting ready to put it in. Gonna get the rear end all buttoned up. Gonna go ahead and tell on myself ahead of time before I get messages about it. Obviously I'm using a lube blocker, which you don't have to use any silicone on. The one I have in particular has been used a couple times, and I'm gonna throw a little extra silicone on the back side of it. It's kind of ratted up a little bit. So just a little thin skim coat to help it seal up, just because I don't want to have to do this diff a second time. So gonna throw the diff in the 4400 car. We'll have that prepped and ready. Hopefully get it buttoned up tonight. Check it out, and we'll go ahead and get started and get going. We're back here at the shop again. Got the rear differentials in the car. Oil's going in it now, getting it all freshened up and done. Just finished doing some 4-link work. You'll see it on some time lapses. I videotaped it all. I'll go ahead and zoom in. We got rid of a new heim joint back here in the back. Had that heim joint, was getting a little sloppy on us. We reset all the 4-link. We had an issue where at Crandon we had the diff cover was rubbing on the steering pulley down here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. My power steering pulley, which ultimately led to a belt failure in one of the races, but we got it all fixed now. I clearanced the diff cover a little bit because it was a homemade deal we made. We were testing some new stuff. So anyways, reset all the 4-link, got the car back squared up. We got it within a 1/16 of an inch right now. I'm not messing with it no more. I can deal with the 1/16 of an inch. Some guys might complain, but it's good enough for what we do. So moving on ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys our super sweet GoPro. Dylan hasn't seen this yet, but I dropped his GoPro off the ceiling and destroyed it. So I need to get the GoPro fixed. But stuff happens. It's about 95 degrees out today. Obviously the shop's hot. You can tell I'm sweating. But we got the car done. We got all the diff back in it and everything. We're waiting on, Robert's gonna weld us up some coil pack stuff so we can mount our coil packs in a better location on the car. As soon as we get those back, we'll get them bolted on, get it ready to go. And this car is pretty well buttoned up. We got a few little tricks we're gonna do with a dry sump on it to just prevent some issues that we had at Crandon. But for right now, I think we're in good shape. We're gonna get started on the Can-Am next. So stay tuned, and you'll get to see me tear the Can-Am apart and go through all of it. What's up, everybody? We're getting ready to start on the Can-Am. I got her, I'm gonna show you here up on some stilts, getting ready to tear into it. So, being that Legends of the Fall we're going into, we hear from rumors that it's supposed to be a pretty gnarly race, which I'm excited about. I'm glad that they're bringing back, you know, a real rough, violent course. I think that's what Ultra 4 is about, and I hope that they continue in that direction. On the other hand, being that I'm leading the National Point Series, going into the last race, it's the worst kind of race I want to go into because the chances for me to DNF are so high. So being that it's a rough race, I have the most opportunity to lose the championship. So just out of safety precaution and being that I fought for this championship all year, I want to make sure that I put myself in the best possible position to win. So we're going to go ahead and change axle shafts in the car, which is rare for me. Normally, I run the same set of RCVs until the end of the year, put in fresh ones at the beginning of the next year or get them rebuilt. I'm going to go ahead and change them out early before the final race, put fresh RCVs in, fresh Heim joints on the radius rods from CA. I'm going to check over my HCR suspension, probably put new uniballs in the front of the HCR suspension to be safe. We plan on checking the shocks out on the car this round. We're going to obviously put new brakes on the car from EBC. I know I'm hitting a lot of sponsors in here. This is really where I use a lot of their products and stuff is in this style of prep. So I'm going to keep on rolling through. Obviously, we'll do new air filter, new oil in the car, keep it all fresh. We're going to run a different set of tires, so I'll retire the car up to bigger tires for what we're doing. I'm going to check over the halo diff in the front of the car. We're going to make sure everything in it's good, change the oil in it. If I think the oil looks a little dirtier than I'm used to, I may pull the diff. We're just going to see where we end up with when we drain the oil and check it. I'm going to check all the bushings in the A-arms. I've seen them, I've wore them out before or had a bent bolt destroying them on me. So that's just all the stuff we're looking for right away. We'll probably do the Heim joints on the tie rods too. I believe they got a little play. I'll know more once I get into them. And then we're gonna check over the steering. We'll probably set the car up with a new steering belt. I'm actually debating on changing the exhaust on the car. This car has a Evo exhaust, which is really good. It actually works really well. I dislike how loud it is though. In this particular car, being that we're running for such a long distance, I'd prefer the car to be quieter. Normally I don't like that because I can't hear my car. I can't hear exactly what my car is doing when somebody's next to me with a loud car. But in this particular case, being endurance racing, we end up kind of strung out by ourselves. So the quieter exhaust ends up being nicer, at least in my preference. That way I can hear more of the inner workings of the car. I can hear the suspension traveling and stuff and listen for any odd sounds or anything. If I know I took a hard hit somewhere, I can check and listen for that to make sure I didn't hurt any of the products on the car. So with that in mind, I may retro the exhaust. I don't know. I don't have time to really order a new one right now or the cash to order a brand new exhaust right now. So I may just retro the one that's on the car if I can find something that'll work and look sleek on it. I don't want to do something that could potentially fall apart and cause issues with the car. So that's a potential thing. We're going to do a little work to some mud flaps on the car and stuff. I know that we're going to Disney. I know it's a lot of flat rocks, so mud flaps shouldn't be super important, but I want to make sure I'm fully prepared for anything they can throw at us. I don't want to take any chances of having any other issues with the car. So that's kind of the general gist of the car, and we're just going to bolt and nut and check everything on the entire car front to back. So that's what we're going for. I'll kick off all the other GoPros. I got them moved around, got the car ready, and we'll get started. just want to clue you guys in. When your wife walks outside holding the Budweiser, you gotta take a break and pay attention. Something bad happened. Not that bad. It's just a beer day. You just gotta have a day. You gotta relax and let shit go.
Sure.
So, see you guys tomorrow. What's going on, everybody? We're back here at the shop, and I don't know if you can tell right now in the background, I got the Can-Am tore down, got all the axles out of it, all the knuckles off of it, going through all the joints and bearings, and it has a full season of Ultra 4 on it, which is obviously a lot, and then a few other races sprinkled in there too. So a few things that I noticed that I'm having issues with, again, it's just wear beating on the car, is I'm gonna zoom in on this. Is this bolt, I don't know if you can tell, it's bent right here. It's kind of odd the way it bent. But it's from impacts from the radius rod. The other one on the upper looks a little bent too. The other ones on the bottom all look good. They haven't taken much abuse, just them two uppers. So I'm probably gonna get lucky. I don't think I'm gonna have to pull the transmission or nothing on the car. I think I can actually put a nut on this inside, run a bolt through, put a nut on. I'll probably tack the nut on and get it to hold through finals, the last race of the season. When I tear the car all the way down, I'll deal with it then. Everything else, as far as the HCR trailing arms and A-arms, they all look good. No cracks, no issues there going on. The only issues we have is I'm putting new uniballs in. As you can tell, I already went ahead and got started. I had this upper on the side. Which side is this? This would be the driver's side. The upper ball joint was wore out pretty bad. Had quite a bit of play in it, and so we got it out. And then, ironically, the driver's lower is still good. It doesn't have any wear. And on the passenger side, the upper is good, and the lower's wore out. So I'm not really for sure why they're wearing funny like that. I did take a hard hit on this passenger side, so that's not too terribly surprising to me that it's wore out down here, but the upper on the driver's side, I was a little unsuspecting of that one being wore down. But everything else looks good. We drained the differential oil. It looks phenomenal. The halo's holding up great. So I'm just gonna put oil back in it, run it. We are going to put a new set of RCV axles in it. Like I said before, we're racing for a championship, and I want it pretty bad, so I'm going to spend a little extra money to make sure that the axles are solid. All the ones I took out of the car felt great. Obviously, we're getting phone calls now. I think that's the boss, Chris Hickman. He owns the 4400 car. We'll get to him in a minute. But everything else looks good. I am going to replace, I have some joints on, it's on this other side here, I'll show you. This steering joint, I don't know how well you guys can see it. It has some slop in it and is wore out. So I'm probably going to replace it. The rest of the car is looking really good. So just got to knock a couple uniballs out, straighten a few things. The only other thing I had is I'm going to replace these bushings right here. They're just little plastic nylon bushings after a full season. I don't know if you can see it on the GoPro. It's oval shaped a little bit in there. So we'll get that fixed, and we look like we're in good shape. And obviously, I lost my sleeves today. It's like 96 degrees. I thought we were in fall. I was ready for hoodie weather, and it's 96 degrees out, and the shop feels like 110. So a little hot out here today, but we're getting it done, and that's what counts. So I'm sure you're gonna see this on the time lapse. I know Dylan likes showing me working real hard. It's still like 96 degrees in here, 100 in the shop. I don't really know, it's hot. But I went to put new axles, well, rebuilt. I had them rebuilt axles in for Legends of the Fall, and got in a hurry, slid it in the differential housing, and the clip was, I don't know if you can see this, I'm gonna try to zoom in my hand, there's a little piece of clip there. The clip wasn't sitting down all the way where it needed to be. I slid it in, it started to go, so I just grabbed a mallet, whacked the end of it, done it 100 times. Normally it popped right in. This one bound up. And I spent probably the last hour and a half trying to get it out. Finally had to get the old trusty porta power out and wedge it in between the differential and the axle shaft because it wasn't all the way in. Put all the pressure I could with the porta power on it, then take a crowbar from the bottom side and jerk on it. And finally got it to pop out, and luckily it ruined the clip. Somehow I got lucky enough it didn't ruin the splines on the axle or anything I can feel in the differential. So I got the little piece that I just showed you out of the diff. There's no scarring on the diff, nothing I can feel inside there. All the splines feel really good. So I got lucky, but note to self, take a little more time, slow down a little bit, and do it right. What's going on, guys? We're back here in the shop. Still got the Can-Am up on stands, working on it, doing the rear axles. We got the front end all buttoned up, put back together. It's all done. The only thing we do have to do to the front still is I got to do this brake caliper. I broke 2 Torx 30s trying to get the bolts out. I don't know where I laid them at, but so I got to go run down to somewhere and get some new Torx 30 bits. Apparently they're not impact rated. Anyways, so we still got to do the rear of the car, get the axles in it and all that. I wanted to show you guys real quick. I had a pretty hard hit. Trying to think where it was back at Visions, I believe, is when I did it initially. Coming through some rock ledges and stuff, there were some big boulders, and I was jumping down a little ledge, and the car would smack pretty hard. And anyways, I ended up destroying part of the back of the car. You can see where we ripped the skid plate off back here when we were doing it, and I cracked right there. This gusset here got pushed up. This bottom plate, I don't know if you can see here, is pushed up. It flattened some of the tube there, which really doesn't hurt anything because we still got really good clearance on our transmission to our skid plate. So I'm not terribly worried about it. I just want to get it welded up so it doesn't go any farther than it already has. So we're gonna weld this all up. Probably put a little extra weld in here, and then I'm gonna just make sure it's secure, so if I take any more hard hits to the back of the skid plate, it doesn't get into our transmission or mess with our geometry in the back of the car or nothing. So a little bit of touch-up welding and some stuff. Everything's pretty good. It's all holding up well. The underside, you can tell, took a couple good licks right across there, but it's all held up. It just pushed that up a hair. Again, doesn't really hurt anything as far as the structure of the car or anything of that sort. So we'll just weld it up and prevent it from cracking any farther or going anywhere else. So feel pretty comfortable with all that. I'm gonna get to work on that, and it'll be on the time lapse, so check it out, guys. What's up, everybody? We're here at the shop still. We got the Can-Am all back together. Got fresh rear axles in it, re-greased the wheel bearings, new brake pads from EBC on it. Got the radius rods, got new joints in the radius rods from CA Tech. Went ahead and did our own little custom weld job. We tack weld all the nuts on the back, just a habit from racing hammers and stuff. The last thing I want is a bolt coming out of the radius rod or coming loose and allowing it to break. So once I get them all tight, I just put a little tack weld on them. Seems to work a little better in Loctite. Hasn't failed yet, so pretty good. We still maybe gonna work on the exhaust. I might try to put a quieter exhaust on the car so it's easier for me and the co-pilot to talk. I'll probably get to that. I haven't messed with it yet. Same thing on the front. We did brakes in the front, new axle shafts, wheel bearing, checked the diff fluid, changed the fluid in the diff. It was all good. Just little things like that. One of the neat little tricks that I do, a lot of people ask me about this. I'm gonna zoom in on it for you, is I put zip ties on the brake lines instead of doing the little, I don't know, they're 10mm nuts and Allen headed bolts that always seem to strip out and fail when you don't need them to. So just to ease, and I never had this mess up on me or come apart, is I just put zip ties on them and I cut them when I need them to come off and I put new ones on, and it just seems to be easy and fast. So I like doing it. A little tip for you guys, maybe help you out. Maybe you don't like it, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But other than that, we've about got it ready to go. We're probably gonna bleed the brakes on it with the new pads and stuff, get some new brake fluid in it. Other than that, I think she's about ready for Legends of the Fall, so looking forward to it. I have somebody co-riding with me, a new co-dog, so to speak. We'll see how he does. Stay tuned, maybe we'll let you in on the secret of who it is. We're back here on the 4400 car. I was gonna show you guys the coil pack stuff. We got it all finished up. Had Robert and Ted weld some spacers on a plate where all the coil packs sit to give them an air gap underneath, so that way they won't overheat on us in longer races. So I'm gonna zoom in real quick on here. I don't know if you can see it. Yep, little air gap under there. Just enough to let them breathe. Did an awesome job. Thanks to them guys for welding that stuff up for me. I don't have an aluminum welder, and I don't know how to aluminum weld, which is something I need to learn. But we got the 4400 car all buttoned up. We got a new belt on it and everything. We got everything back together on the car as far as all that goes. We feel good about everything. The only thing we got left is we're waiting on a dry sump tank. We're gonna put a little more baffling in the dry sump tank. We think that was some of our issues at Crandon, was the oil was sloshing in the air, letting the pump aerate a little bit and dropping our oil pressure down below the threshold, causing the car to shut off. So we weren't losing oil pressure completely, just to throw that out there. It was dipping down into the low teens, and it was enough to trigger the oil pressure shut off. So it shut the car off on me, and I really wasn't losing all the oil pressure. I was just dipping real low. And so we think it was aerating in the tank, causing some of our issues. So we're gonna put a different tank in. It'll have some more baffling in it. A little, they call it an off-road tank. It's supposed to be a little better for what we're doing. So we're gonna do that. Hopefully we'll have it here and have it all done before we go to finals or Legends of the Fall, and have that car ready. Other than that, rear axle's all back together. Everything else in the car looks good. The only thing I gotta do is when I get a chance to fire it up, I need to check the transmission fluid just to be safe. And we're gonna throw a new tranny filter and a new oil filter on it, obviously. Do that every time. So we're gonna do that still, and we'll go from there.